Hi everyone, my name is Sydney and today we are going to be discussing Thunderhead by Neal Shusterman. I read this book for the first time last year, but I never got around to filming my book talk video, which really upset me because I ended up forgetting literally everything that happened. So for those of you who are here and have no idea what these books are about, we have this world where everyone is immortal and the only way for you to be killed or to die is by being gleaned, and this is the role of a scythe. Within the story you follow characters who are upon their apprenticeship of becoming a scythe, and it is just filled with kick-ass action, interweaving plot twists, characters. Honestly, I think every single person would love this series, and that's coming from someone who hasn't even finished the last book yet, but I'm so excited. These books are a trilogy, and I have the third one, so I am going to get onto it ASAP. I've never had that where rereading a book for the second time was actually better than the first time. This is that first time for me. So I am going to go into the spoilery section of this video. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. There's so much that happened in this book. So we've got now Scythe Anastasia and Scythe Lucifer. I personally really thought that Scythe Lucifer's whole thing was really interesting. He would glean people who were undeserving of the title of being a scythe. The fact that he didn't kill Scythe Brahms, and he was the one who was part of the big plan with Scythe Goddard. Oh my god, I loved this on page 238. Scythe Brahms let his Maltese do its business on whomever's lawn it chose, and Brahms couldn't be bothered to clean it up. Why should it be his problem? And besides, his neighbours never complained. On this day, however, the dog was being finicky and a bit retentive as they walked back from breakfast. They had to walk an extra block until finally Requiem shat on the Thompsons' snow-dusted lawn. Then, after leaving that little gift for the Thompsons, Scythe Brahms found his own little gift waiting for him in his living room. If that is not the most beautifully written piece of work, I don't know what is. So Scythe Goddard, I remember when I read the first book in this series, he was honestly one of my favourite villains. I thought he was so interesting. I love that we got him back, even though in this book he was revolting, like actually revolting and awful to read about. Like with everything that happened at the end of this book, I wonder what's happened with him and Rand, the fact that they were in that helicopter and flew away from Endura. I felt really sorry for the fact of Tiger having to sacrifice his body for Scythe Goddard. I had goosebumps reading it. We've got Goddard's head on top of his body, and there's Scythe Rand, who is bloody in love with Tiger, basically, who is filled with regret that she didn't sleep with him when she had the chance, and the whole thing how Goddard knows that this body is attracted to Rand. You can't have me, you had your chance. Oh, it's just so brutal. But also, Scythe Rand, you are so stupid. It's funny because obviously I just finished reading this book for the second time, and every time it goes to that shock moment where everyone reading it is finding out that Tiger's body is used for this purpose, my mouth literally went again, and it was just so funny. I went straight to nostalgic Sid of thinking about my first time making that same reaction. It was so good. Obviously we have the main, I guess, character in this book, which is the Thunderhead. We're getting all of his entries. You automatically are connected to the Thunderhead, and the Thunderhead is a form of a cloud, and he is so obsessed with the whole meaning behind what a god is. There is so much symbolism within religion. There is so much symbolism of the Thunderhead being a god-like figure. It's as if everyone in society should be bowing down to him for all that he's done for them, and then you end up seeing how much emotion the Thunderhead actually carries, that he actually feels, but he's a computer. So that was really interesting to me, because as you keep reading this book, you find out that the Thunderhead is on a particular side. He wants Scythe Citra to succeed and flourish. He wants Grayson, who is my favorite character, I'll go into his story in a second, but he wants them to thrive. And as the story went on, I was thinking, how can he feel? It kind of makes me think that there is someone behind the Thunderhead, or multiple people, that maybe he's not just a computer. I don't know, things don't make sense. How he can be talking to one person and then talking to another at the same time, but also how he was able to talk to both Citra and Rowan when they were in the middle of being deadish. That doesn't make sense to me as well. So let's talk about Grayson, or otherwise known as Slade Bridger. I absolutely loved Grayson because he was so relatable. He was the heartbreak part of this story. The Thunderhead was the person he would go to talk to when he was being abused by family at home, or when he was going through something. The Thunderhead was always there for him, as they reiterate. So it was so sad when he ended up being titled as an unsavory, because when you are titled an unsavory, you have lost your connection to the Thunderhead. That was heartbreaking to read. To then have him go through the different waves of being an unsavory, what it's like to be an unsavory, to go into what it's like being a tonist, and God, they are crazy, but they knew that the Thunderhead was going to have this uproar. So that was really interesting. It's really fun to go into something different, because we've learned about the Scythe world, we're learning about the tonist world, we're learning about the unsavory world, and the world of Endura, which is so fucking weird. Grayson ended up liking this girl who was an unsavory, and she killed his Nimbus agent who knew everything about him being undercover for the Thunderhead. I felt so shit for him in that moment, because this was a reason for him to still be connected to the Thunderhead. Everything in his history of Grayson Tolliver has been erased, and no one knows who he really is. And then we have this other moment, which was, I read it and I felt every single part of that section. When Grayson is in the chapel, and he's a tonist now, and he is crying, begging the Thunderhead to give him a sign. And the Thunderhead, it's so good, it's so fun to be in his mind. He's like saying, well, I don't have to interject completely. I can just dim the lights a little bit. And he does. But fucking Grayson doesn't even realize, because he's got his head in his hands and he's crying. This was like such a moment of highlighting depression, like totally highlighting loneliness, what it feels like to be alone and feel like no one loves you, no one is there for you. If there is a moment that is my favorite moment in this book, it is definitely that moment in the chapel. Grayson, is the heart of what is relatable in this story. He is the heart of humanity, the heart of empathy, the heart of wanting to be helpful but feeling helpless. Yeah, I fucking love Grayson. And wait, let's just go there. The ending where everyone has been labeled unsavory because the Thunderhead has had his uproar. He's like, fuck you all, I do so much for you. I am your god and this is how you treat me. This is how you treat each other. Oh my fucking god. This is also my favorite part from this book because it just leaves you like, fuck yes. He is the only one in the entire world who is able to connect to God, to connect to the fucking Thunderhead. He is the only one. And he loves the Thunderhead. There is respect there, and there's respect back. You can fucking feel that the Thunderhead feels for Grayson. He loves Grayson by weirdly having emotions for being a computer. He loves Grayson, and this was such a great moment of, we need to talk. Fuck, I have chills. Let's talk about this whole Endura situation, because reading it for the second time, I didn't mind it as much. But I just... it's just so messy, and there's just so much in it that's like, what the fuck is going on? But it did make sense for me that it was a big representation of the greed which is within our society. People were fending for themselves because their lives were in danger. People pushing their way to the front to get onto the plane to leave. Pushing their way to make sure they don't fall into the water, which is fucking filled with fish and all kinds of sharks, all this shit, which that was just so fucking weird. I also love the names for the scythes. So we had Scythe Carlo, which is really fucking cool as a Grand Slayer. And I love that there's a fucking Scythe Beyonce. I want to know how she gleans. Like, does she put Destiny's Child on? Does she sing? Or like, what does she do? But it's so funny. Again, there's so much symbolism within this book. I love it. These scythes are so symbolic to celebrities, which makes sense as to why they take on the name of a celebrity. People bow down to them. People look up to them. The High Blade situation was also a very interesting part of this story. Scythe Curie and Goddard. That was really interesting, like Goddard bursting through the doors like, I'm here, bitches! We had the inquest by Anastasia, which is why they ended up going to Endura. There's so much intelligence within this book, and it just makes it so exciting. I really felt for Curie, that she sacrificed herself. But it was also a beautiful moment of showing mortality, that we all die, yet we are here on this earth to live our life, you know, to live it in the best way possible in terms of doing the things you love and being there for your loved ones. And I actually found it really fulfilling that she said, I've had a really big, wonderful life, so it's time. And she ends up pushing Citra and Rowan into that shuttle thing, whatever that is, submarine with the clothes of the past people, Gandhi, Scythe Gandhi. I thought it was really humbling because Curie is a really fantastic character. But then the whole thing with Citra and Rowan is just so absurd. What is going to happen to them? When are they going to find them? Are they going to be deadish within a few days because they don't have any food? They're at the bottom of the sea now, and people have to go to the bottom of the sea to find them. So good luck. Maybe when they go deadish, they will have so many conversations with the Thunderhead, which will be then, oh my god, actually, maybe. And then that will be delivered to Grayson, and Grayson will know that they're down there, and then they maybe will revive them quicker. Oh my god. Okay, that could happen. And then we also have Scythe Faraday and the Librarian. Their story is very interesting as well, because there is this whole idea of the Land of Nod, which I remember the first time reading it, I felt the same way. I still find it really unnecessary. There's something about the Land of Nod which just, to me, doesn't feel like it needs to be there. But I guess in the next book, it will have so much meaning, possibly. But for me, it just felt so unnecessary. We already had Endura, which was a new island for us. So to have another one was just really weird. But I do love the secrecy that the Thunderhead doesn't even know about this place. I wonder what happened to them. There was a lot that happened in this book, and I loved it. The second time round was so much better. So that was my little review on The Thunderhead by Neal Shusterman. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There was so much within this book, and I'm so fucking excited for the next one. Like, oh my god, what are we gonna get? What is gonna happen? I'm living for Grayson and the Thunderhead. That relationship is everything. So I guess I'll see you in my next video. Maybe it'll be a review on the toll. We'll see how fast I can read it. So, as usual, bye!